afternoon, everybody. Hi, my name is Callie, and welcome to the AllBrands show. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today. We really appreciate you being here. So we've got a lot of folks already in the chat sounding off. Let's see where everybody's from. Let's see. So we've got Anne. Hello from Gretna. Oh my gosh, Anne, I'm essentially from around there. So you're a hop, skip, and a jump away from me. What's up? So we've got, let's see who else. We've got Eileen from sunny Roseville, California. Oh my gosh. And I asked everybody earlier before we signed on what you guys have been working on, like what sewing projects you've been working on. We've been hearing lace and quilts, some clothes from some people. Yeah, Nancy's working on some quilts. That's so exciting. Keep telling us what you've been working on. I love hearing about all the stuff that other folks have been working on. So we have a really incredible show for you today, and you are in for something really fun. Stay tuned, because at the end of this show, we will be giving away a $100 AllBrands gift card, as always. So stay tuned for that. But before we do all of that, we are going to be talking sewing on the XP2 with Heather Banks. So let's go ahead and bring Heather in. Hey, Heather.
Hi, Callie. Thank you so much for having me. I want to know if I can stay and win the $100 gift card. That's awesome.
I'm telling you, it's so good. It's so good. And you know what? All you need to do, everybody at home, you just need to like this video, give us a comment, and share or subscribe if you're watching it on YouTube. And those will automatically put you in the running for those $100 AllBrands gift card, those AllBrands books.
That is awesome. I know somebody's going to win today, be really excited. I wish it was me, but I'm just glad that I'm here to talk about sewing today.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited for this. I know I was just telling you this, I think when we got together before the show, I just got an XP1 and I am learning all about the sewing and everything that goes into it and stuff. And I am absolutely in love with this machine, but I know that there's more I could be doing. So I'm super excited to see all the cool stuff that you've got for us today. And for those of you watching, if you do at any point have questions for Heather, go ahead and drop them in the chat, and we will try and answer all of your questions on the air live. So yes. Heather, take it away.
You bet. I can't wait. Thank you so much, AllBrands, for having me. I'm always so excited when I get to return to see AllBrands and all of the people there. You're just the most wonderful store. So I know your customers appreciate you too. I'm excited to talk about the Luminaire today. The things I'll be talking about are for the Luminaire 1 or 2. If you have the 1 like you do, Callie, you can always upgrade the features and go with the Luminaire 2. But most of the things I'm talking about are on whatever Luminaire you have. There's so many different features available for sewing, and it doesn't matter if you are a garment sewer, a quilter, you love to make bags. I dabble in all of those. They're all fun, and you may as well. But if you are a diehard fan of just one of those, perhaps, you will still be amazed at the different technological advances that have come through in the machines that we have today. The Luminaire is our top of the line sewing and embroidery machine. We are only covering the sewing side today, but in case you're curious, it has an entire side made up of embroidery as well, and something we call My Design Center, totally different as well. So I'm covering like a little tiny niche for the Luminaire today, and I'm really excited to do so. I was just in my attic space, going through the boxes, pulling things out, because I have these different sewing samples and I had so many things I wanted to share. So, okay, I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's go to the machine. I thought I would just give you a very quick general overview of what you get with this machine, because it is so amazing. And then we're just going to dive right in and we're going to start sewing stuff. So I'm going to get my camera guy. I was able to recruit my husband today to help me out, and he's going to get us closer to the machine. All right, awesome. Here we go.
While you're doing that, we do have a quick question for you.
Yes, yes.
We have a quick question from someone on Facebook, I believe, Carolyn. Carolyn wants to know, will some of this information apply to the Dream Machine too?
Oh my gosh, totally. Yes. My mom and my sister have a dream machine. They love it. And I was thinking about them as I was designing this because there's so many of these features are also on the dream machine too. So
Yeah.
there's a few that aren't, but I'll try to point those out, or please ask so that we can make sure that we're clear for you, but definitely crossover.
Yes, totally ask your questions, any and all questions. There are no stupid questions. We're learning.
No,
We're all
never.
learning here.
That is correct. Okay, so we're getting a close-up here of the machine. Now, I wanted you to see this resembles the dream machine in a lot of ways, the color and the shape. But what we're going to do is first, I wanted you to see the large workspace here. This is actually 65 square inches of workspace, and you can absolutely get a very large quilt rolled into here. It is 13 inches from the needle to the side here. So you're getting, this is the most space that you get on one of our machines, like I said, as the top of the line. There is a 10-inch screen here. This is our capacitive screen. So I can use my finger to change the buttons, or I can use the included stylus, but I can't use the plastic stylus. So if you have a dream machine, then you have a plastic stylus. Now this won't work on this machine. It is very unique in the way it works, where it actually has like electricity as the way it works. So your body functions to be able to touch, as does our stylus. And I'll show you a little bit more about how that works. Okay, let me show you here. I'm going to flip up the lid, and so I'll get you to back up. There we go. Now inside, what's great about this lid is it goes flat, and you can use it to store things. So typically when I'm not doing an AllBrands show, there's all kinds of stuff stacked up in here for me to reach for. Now let me show you the really great thread stand. Okay, so it says brother right here on the top. Pull it open. Now this is different and totally unique from one we've had before. It has magnets on the bottom, and there are magnets on the top as well. So all I have to do is lift this up, pull straight up, and then I'm going to flip this over. Oops, you can't quite see that. I'm going to flip this over. There we go. And then I'm going to bring up the spool holders. So there's one and there's two. There's no way you can lose anything. This is all completely attached, and it's so portable and super lightweight. So I'm going to go, even without standing up, I'm just going to drop this in here, and now it's attached to the magnet and it's not going anywhere. So it's a really nice spool stand, and that's an upgrade to this machine that you wouldn't have seen before. As is this beautiful accessory box, which was designed to fit into the arm of the machine. It's huge. You get a lot of stuff in this, and I'm just going to quickly pop it open so you can see. It has a hinge on the back. These are feet that are all included. You do get 14 feet with this machine. And if I pull this out, one of the things I love about Brother Feet trays is that the feet all stay. They're all locked in. So you never have to be that time where you go to open it and they all go flying everywhere. You can see underneath, we've got lots and lots of storage space. This is an amazing box and a wonderful accessory kit. Our top of the line sewing machine comes with a lot. You're going to get a lot. So let's definitely go right into that so you can see. We have a non-glare surface. This is a new thing for us. So non-glare and non-stick lets things slide much easier.
Hey, Heather.
Yes, absolutely.
We have a question. We have a
Please.
question from someone on YouTube wondering, will the, I'm assuming they're referring to the thread stand, will it hold a thread cone? And I would say yes.
Oh,
but
gosh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. So you're talking about up here, and definitely this is very sturdy. No issues with that at all. So for sure, definitely. Okay, I'm going to have him come in a little bit closer right here because, Callie, I was at a show once and a person had just bought their Luminaire, and they said this feature right here that I'm going to show you was the reason they bought the Luminaire. And I
feel like I know exactly what you're about to say, and I'm so excited to see it.
It's just great, right? Because
yes,
it changed everything for me. So if I need to clean in here, or a thread gets stuck, or I just need to get access to my under my needle plate, all I do with the Luminaire is push this button and it pops up. If you haven't seen this, oh my gosh, no screws, none at all. It is So absolutely amazing. And then if you see right in here, I can access anything I need to, my feed dogs, my bobbin case, everything's easily accessible. And of course, there's no oiling with this machine. So you don't need to get in for that reason. But holy cow, my absolute, I get top 10 feature is this. No screwdriver, no screws to lose. Push the button, pop straight up. And I will also show you while we're here that one of the things you get with this machine is a straight stitch needle plate. So if I point with my tweezers right here, you can see, I think you can see that, let me come down here, that there is a hole, just a small one. In comparison, if we look over to this needle plate that comes installed, you get this long opening. This, of course, is so we can do decorative stitches, zigzags, satin stitches, things that require our needle to go to the right and left. With a straight stitch plate, one of the wonderful features of this is since your needle is only going up and down, you don't have the issue where fabric can get caught in the feed dogs and be pulled through this hole. And if you're a quilter or, especially if you sew maybe with more delicate fabrics for garment sewing, it's always possible sometimes when you start on the edge of your fabric. I know if you're like me, this has happened to you, and you get going and that corner pulls down into your feed dogs. It's so frustrating. And the edge of your fabric folds over. With the straight stitch needle plate, you don't have that issue because it's so small, you don't have any fabric going down in there. So whether it's piecing a quilt or piecing a garment, this is so wonderful. And on top of that, you get the straight stitch foot, which I'm trying to get my finger out of the way. The straight stitch foot, which you can see just has that opening right here for the needle. So again, you're never going to want to do a stitch that would go side to side. One of the amazing features of the Luminaire is that as soon as I pop in this needle plate, which this is the one for the straight stitch, the Luminaire knows that it has the straight stitch in. I turn the machine on and off, it comes back up, and it won't allow me to sew anything but a straight stitch. So it's impossible to break your needle. One of the I can say, honestly, I may have broken a needle or two doing something like that in the past. And the straight stitch needle plate completely eliminates any need or any worries about breaking a needle. It's pretty fantastic. So let me say, anything else I can add, Callie, before we keep moving? I'm going to show you how to thread from here.
Oh my gosh. I am still not over how amazing this machine is, just point blank, period.
Beautiful.
Even just with the sewing features, you guys, this machine is incredible. And we've only been live for like 13 minutes and I'm still just like remembering why I love this machine so much.
Me too.
Oh my gosh, it's so great. So we do have some questions I'm seeing from some folks. So Lauren on Facebook is wondering, so there are only 2 different plates. And I believe so, Lauren. I believe it's only the 2 that it comes with.
That is correct. She is right. So, and I didn't mention it, but if I get my camera guy to squeeze in a little bit, you can see here on the straight stitch needle plate that it actually has the markings for the 1/4 inch and 5/8 of an inch. So again, as I was saying, garment sewing, especially delicate fabrics, you get your 5/8 of an inch. Piecing quilts, you get your 1/4 of an inch. Brother spent a lot of time researching, these engineers, Callie, that designed this, they're not quilters, they're not garment sewers, but they listen and they want to understand what we need. And so you can see here very brightly printed that you can, and it's in addition to being engraved onto the plate as well. So as your fabric is coming down, you'll be able to follow those, but there's even better and more interesting ways to do that, which I will show you. But of course, yes, 2 of those included large spaces that you have. Actually, I have not personally, before this machine, had a machine that had a pocket in the back, a place for me to store things in the back. And I want to show you while he's standing here that as I'm sure you're used to with other sewing machines, this comes off very simply so that you can sew in the round and get close. But if you prefer a larger space, there is an optional separate table that is 16 inches by 26 inches that just fits right onto here. And I know AllBrands had that on the site that I was on. So I really recommend that as well. big benefit. Okay.
Yeah. So we have one more question, and then I'll let you show threading. So Christine, who's watching on YouTube, is wondering, do you use the straight stitch plate when you embroider?
No, you wouldn't use it then. That's a good question. It would just be for sewing.
Perfect.
All right.
And I don't think we have any more questions. So let's take a look at threading. Y'all, I love the way this machine threads. It's so easy. You know what? I'm just gonna shut up and I'll let you do it, Heather. It's so cool.
No, I'm glad you're talking to me about it, because you're so right. Now I'm gonna use a small spool of thread and I'm gonna lift it up just one-handed. Now I'm gonna do this whole thing one-handed because it is that easy. So this has numbers, and if we get in a little bit closer, you can see I'm gonna start with 1. I think most brother machines are numbered, and it makes things very simple. So I'm going to start back here. It gives us a little bit of extra tightness there. I'm gonna go 1, I'm left-handed, so 2, 3, up to 4, down to 5. Now, when I get down here, oops, he's going to follow me in. He's not quite down there. There we go. When I get down to the needle bar, this has the number 6 on it. I come in front of the needle bar, and then I come in front of this piece here and lock it into place. I'm just going to cut the thread off on the thread cutter on the side. Now, if you can see that this is just sort of in a waiting position. On the side of the machine, there's the beautiful blue button. I guess it's kind of black now. It's got the needle with the thread going through it. All I'm going to do is push that button. So I'm going to bring him back to here so you can watch. I'm going to push that button and we'll let it thread. I will never be able to not use this again. I must have this option forever and ever, because my eyes aren't so good anymore. And this is just the most beautiful, wonderful feature. So that's it. That's the threading. It's all done. We're ready to stitch. Let's do that. Any questions before we do?
Y'all, that is so cool. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, we do have a few questions. I'm telling you, brother thought of everything with this machine, between the thread cutter on the side, all of it. It is all right there. So we've got some questions. We've got someone on YouTube wanting to know, do you recommend using thread nets?
Oh, that's a good question. So the only time I really use thread nets is for fabric that pools or kind of falls down to the side. So sometimes with a metallic thread, or also, and I have it sitting here actually, with a monofilament. So there's some monofilament threads that will sort of pool and fall down. And in those cases, I have used a thread net. Because I tend to put those kind of spools, let me get him to go up a little bit, because I tend to put those kind of spools in this thread holder and it's to the side, I don't experience that same kind of pulling down of the thread, and then I do better. And actually, when we use this, I'll show you, I'll put it here instead of the one at the top where the thread could just fall to the side. So sometimes this is a better option instead of using the thread net.
Right. And then we have Cheryl over on Facebook wondering, do you always have the presser foot up when threading the machine?
Yes. Okay. And let me show you why that is. If I put my presser foot down, I'm just going to go ahead and push the button, and let me push it up and down, and then can you come right here? Thank you. Okay. When I push the presser foot up, do you see the mechanism that's coming down and locking the, the little guys, the little things in between the thread? They're all getting locked into place. I completely blanked on the word. But as I open this, you can see that as I put the presser foot down, everything is locked up and the thread is no longer free to move. So if I had the presser foot down when I threaded my machine, the needle could potentially break, or it just wouldn't thread because it's completely locked in and it wouldn't be loose enough to come away. So my presser foot has to be up. And then you can pull. And actually, while you're standing there, let me show you. If I pull this thread, it's just pulling very simply. But let me put the presser foot down, and now it's completely locked. I can't move it at all. So that's a great question. That's absolutely a great question.
So yeah, I don't think we have any more questions at the moment, but I will let you keep doing your thing.
Okay. Well, you might have noticed I sneakily put another camera in there because I'm just going to change the view to up close at the machine, and we'll
Awesome.
you'll be able to see a little better. So Callie, at any point, if you can't see something, let me know if I need to zoom in or get closer. But how's that looking? I know it's just sort of a straight up and down thing.
Yeah, I think it looks great. Could you tilt it up maybe just a little bit so we can see the top of the screen too?
You bet. Hold on. That's the joy of doing this, right? Is we just ask, how does it look? Okay. Any better? You liking that?
Oh yeah, that's definitely better.
Okay.
Sure.
I can also do a little bit of this. So we'll see what we need to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Wanted to show you the screen. One of the things that this machine does, and it doesn't get the glamour that it deserves, but up at the top, up here, I'm going to use a stylus. I'm going to point here. There's something that looks like a page. I'm just going to click on the page. And it's, of course, our settings. I'm going to go over to, excuse me, I'm going to go over to this first page. Right here, it says Automatic Fabric Sensor System. Okay, this is a fantastic feature of this machine. I have it turned on. What this particular feature does is it automatically detects the presser foot pressure, and it will automatically adjust to feed your fabric smoothly. So if you have something thicker, it will reduce the pressure, and if you have something thinner, it will increase the pressure. Automatically, it does it all on its own. And I wanted to let people know that's there because it's such a fantastic feature. And I have it on, so I really think that you can see how that's working. But
hey, Heather, we've got a question for you.
Yeah.
So we have someone on YouTube wondering, can you lock the screen while sewing?
Great question. Yes. Well, I'm going to go right back up here. I'm going to back up a little bit so you can see. If I zoom in here, I'm going to have to back up. All right. So what I wanted to show you was there's two buttons here. Can you see these? This one looks like a presser foot with a needle and a little lock.
Yeah.
So if and they wanted to know, can I lock it while sewing or while changing a needle?
While sewing.
Okay, if I press this button, the lock button, what that's done is it's prevented any of the settings from changing, but I can still sew, which is just great. However, if I press the one next to it, the one with the needle and the foot, maybe, there we go. I'm going to lower the presser foot. If I press the needle with a foot, notice how everything went sort of a light colored. Now everything's locked. So this would be more of if you wanted to change your needle or you wanted to make an adjustment and you didn't want to worry that, you know, someone else might actually touch something on the machine and you would get poked or, you know, something would come down. So this option is great just for I want to make a change to my machine. And this option is wonderful. I don't want anything to change. I'm just going to sew away now and none of the settings can change. So you can see here, I can't change my length, width. I can't change the stitch.
So Heather, we have another question over in the
Yes.
chat. Funnily enough, it is our owner, John M. Douthit. He is wondering, is there a playbook out for the XP2 yet?
John, you are being bad. You are trying to get information out of me. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm not allowed to say. I have a wonderful feeling about it, John. I have a wonderful feeling.
Perfect. Perfect.
Yes, and I wanted to. He's terrible.
I saw that question come up, and I immediately just started giggling. I can't stop laughing.
Gosh. He is hilarious. I was gonna pull up because he's just said that. The one underneath there. Could you grab it? We do have a playbook for this, and I can tell you that it's something's coming along that will even be better. But let me see if I can I'll put it in front. But this is currently the Luminaire XP1 playbook. And this is a huge book. And it walks you through everything you need to know about this machine. And I know you have this at AllBrands, and we can talk about that more. But great question. Thank you for the interruption there. Should I keep going? Any other questions?
No, I don't think we had any other questions.
Sneaky John.
But I will say, I can attest to the playbook. Oh my goodness. The playbook for the XP1, I was so scared of the machine when I first got it. I was like, I'm going to break it. This is not going to go well for me. But it is so easy. It's so easy. And all the tutorials they have in there are so amazing.
The tutorials are great. There's a lot of pictures that help you to have inspiration, and then tells you how to step by step with a picture of the step, picture of the button, and then a description. So
actually, while we were just chatting, we got another question.
Sure.
So Faye on YouTube is wondering, where on the screen can the cutting thread be turned off?
Okay, that is, let's see, let me scroll through. Right, let's see, that's with the automatic presser foot. Let me think. Now she gave me a little bit of a brain teaser. She wants to turn off the thread and not use it for embroidery.
So I think she means, is there a way to turn off the, actually, you know what? I'm not entirely sure. Faye, if you could clarify your question, because we'd love to answer it for you, but I just want to make sure that I'm asking it right.
Sure. Now, if we were talking embroidery, there is a place we can manually turn that off so that we can leave our tails long. For instance, if we're quilting, we want to bury threads. With the machine, if you see here in the settings, down here at the bottom, you see press to trim is on or off. That would just be automatically trimming for me. But it shouldn't... I think otherwise you just wouldn't use the scissors button if you were sewing. You would just leave your tails long and manually cut.
Yeah, Faye said, I have the settings on off. I'm trying to do quilting.
Is the quilting for embroidery?
You know, I'm not entirely sure. Faye, if you could clarify that too. Yeah, I want to help you. I want to help.
Absolutely, Faye. We're just trying to get clarification. So I'll talk about this one thing while you're giving us a little more information.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Faye wants to bury the tails. That's it.
Okay. Okay. So I think she's talking about embroidery. And so on the embroidery side, I don't know that I'll be able to get, let me see here. Let me go out on the embroidery side. When we do, when you get into the settings and you go into embroidery, there is a little button at the bottom that has scissors on it, and you can turn off your jump stitches so that it won't cut those for you. And then that should leave your tails long for you to manually trim. See if I think she might be talking about that. Did that sound right, Callie? That's what she might be talking about?
Yeah, I think that may have answered your question. I hope that helped, Faye. But
yes.
Oh my gosh, yeah, thank you for showing me that too. I'm learning so much today already.
It's a good question. And I still learn, Callie, to be honest, and I appreciate when people point stuff out for me. Okay, so let's just talk about this and do some sewing. This is our main sewing screen, and you can see we have stitches, lots and lots of stitches. This is what we call our utility stitch. I'm gonna move your down a little bit. This is our utility stitch, and this is quilting and zigzags and utility things. You want to stitch on elastic. Things of that nature. That's these kind of stitches. Now, there are a few fun, decorative stitches in here as well. Here's sort of a feather stitch. One of the great things about the Luminaire and Brother is that this is showing you this stitch at 100%, and it's telling you that right there in the corner. It's showing you the stitch, and it's telling you the foot you need. You get 14 different feet with this: 1/4 inch foot, blind hem stitch foot, couching foot, embroidery, couching foot, button sewing, lots of them. But this will always tell you if you need to change your foot and which one to put on. So here you can see I need my end foot. If I go over to the buttonholes, here you can see I need my buttonhole foot. It's very visual. We tend to be visual learners as creators, and this one is definitely in that, aligns up with that. So I can see, okay, I'm going to do this stitch. I'm going to need the end foot. Let me grab that. Let me do a straight stitch. Okay, J foot is recommended. And this is it's a great feature. So I wanted you to know that was there. Let's, one other thing while we're just in the screen, since we talked a little bit about quilting. If I come to the right, you're not seeing the whole screen. Up here at the top is the edit button. At the very top of that is something that looks like an old phone with a phone cord. I always think when I look at it. If you push this, that automatically lowers your feed dogs and you're ready to free motion quilt. So there's no button, there's no dial. You don't have to get underneath the machine to lower your feed dogs. When I'm done with my quilting, free motion, just push the button and close it up. We're good to go. Okay, let's do a little sewing. I'm going to grab something here. Now, what I have here is a quilt that I have done applique with, and you can kind of see all of my circles have been stitched down with a blanket stitch is what I would call it. And I did all of this on the sewing side. You know, there's lots of stuff we can do with the embroidery, but this was done with the sewing side. I have a piece of fabric here, and I'd like to applique it, similar to what we just did. So I'm going to go to my screen, and I'm going to choose, I'm going to find a blanket stitch that I could use. And there's actually more than one in here. I think I want to use this one. Okay, so I'm selecting 204. Now you'll see on the side that it's telling me to use the J-foot, and it's facing my blanket stitch this way. In this case, that works for me. However, lots of times I use a blanket stitch to quilt, to baste down my binding, to put as a decorative stitch on my binding. In that case, I'm going to scroll out so you can see. I would choose the edit button, and I would choose the mirror image. And when I choose the mirror image, watch what happens over here. It switched directions. So you can, of course, mirror image. You can change the length and width. This is a great feature. If I want to, let's actually show you how I can pivot with this. Down here, there is a picture of a foot with a needle. I'm going to press that. What will happen now, and I'm going to change your camera view so that you can see me stitch, is that every time my foot is raised while I'm stitching, the needle will stay down and the foot will, I'm going to change my direction there. Every time I stop stitching, my needle will stay down and my foot will pop up, allowing me to go around curves like I did with the circle. So I'm going to go ahead and start stitching. Now, let's say I need to readjust my fabric. Getting a little bouncy there. Pops up automatically, allows me to readjust, and then I'm going to continue stitching. Make that slower. And you could do this just a little bit of time. I've had plenty of things, especially a circle, where I stitch a little bit, let the needle pop up, and then I keep stitching. Let me keep going.
Hey, Heather, we have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So someone on YouTube is wondering if you recommend using a mouse for your XP2.
So that's a good question. You can definitely use a mouse. I find that if I do use it, it's more on the embroidery side when I'm doing designing or trying to make shapes. Now, you could certainly use it in my custom stitch, I believe, to create your own stitches, but otherwise I don't use it on the sewing side. If they had a specific thing they were wondering about the sewing side, let me know. Okay, gonna go ahead and finish that and show you. So this is a feature that I have also known people to purchase a brother machine for, and that is the pivot stitch, because it really allows you to get in close and see exactly where you need to be. There's no manually lowering and raising the presser foot. Okay.
So Heather, we have another question.
Go for it.
So someone else on YouTube is wondering, can you sew with the embroidery unit in place?
Yes, I do that all the time. As a matter of fact, I just took my embroidery unit off because you can get 13 inches of space to the other direction too. So absolutely. I frequently just kind of forget about my sewing table and just keep the embroidery in place. That works great. Are we good, or should I keep going?
Oh yeah, no, keep going.
Keep going. All right. So I have to, I would be remiss in every sense of the word if I did not mention our beautiful Move It foot. This is included with your Luminaire, as is the foot that's on it. Now, there are a couple additional feet that I love and use all the time, but you do also get with this machine included a couching foot, and I wanted to show you that as well and to show you how that works. So you get the couching foot, you get the ability to sew and couch, and you also get this Move It foot. This Move It foot, which comes with the Dream Machine and you can use on other different machines, is basically your walking foot. And it feeds both layers of fabric, top and bottom, at the same time evenly. And the belt never leaves the surface of the fabric. So this belt has constant contact with your fabric. It's such a wonderful walking foot. I have this on all the time when I'm stitching, and I piece with it even. I know it looks a little large, and you might think, well, would I want something so big? but you do. This is a great foot. It's so powerful. And if you notice, I'm going to pull this forward. It has this little tail back here. And if I plug this into the back, it's where the embroidery, various things can get plugged in. It's now attached to my machine. It's basically attached to the brain of the machine. And it knows which stitches I can choose, which stitches I can't. I'm going to go ahead and put some fabric underneath so we can show you the benefits of this. Plus, of course, I haven't even mentioned one of the most amazing things about this machine, and that is that it has a projector. So let me turn that on, and I'm going to show you where it is located. So when the Luminaire came out, we came out with the projector. Brother came out with a projector, and that can be used to project your stitches, and it can be used to project a guideline. And that's one of the most amazing things too. So let me show you that first. I'm going to press the guideline marker. And now first thing that you'll notice, let me put a piece of fabric underneath. First thing you'll notice is that when I turned this on, and I'm going to show you the view from the foot, is I have two lines. Now I may need to lower, depending on how well, I may need to lower my lights only so that you can see better. Not because you would ever have to do that while you were sewing. Let me just take my lights down so you can see without, let's try that. So that there's a reaction with the camera that prevents everyone from seeing it so well. So now you should be able to see that there are two lines. These are basically like lasers. They are the projector light being put down. I'm going to turn one off because what I want you to see first of all is the usefulness of this. If I were going to sew together, I wanted to sew binding. Okay, I sew a lot of bindings, and that means I have to miter a lot of corners. So when I'm doing that, I have to take my two pieces of fabric, and of course they get stitched together on the diagonal. So once they're finished being stitched together, they would look like this, and I have a nice straight line. Well, that means that what I used to do was I used to draw a chalk line from one corner to the next so that I could see. Now I don't bother, I don't take that time. I'm going to, let's see, make sure I have this lined up how I would normally do it. I'm going to stitch from one side to the next. I'm going to start in the corner, and let me make sure you can you see that okay, Callie? The light, or should I?
Yeah, it's getting a little obscured by the pattern on the fabric, but I think we can see, I think we can see the line.
Just really quick, I'll take that light all the way down, see if that makes it better. How's that?
And y'all, this projection space is really big, by the way.
It is 3 by 5,
Yeah.
and you can get a lot. So let me go ahead and I'm going to, this light, this projected light is my stitch line. It is 100% lined up directly with my, I forgot to change back. Sorry, I was going to change back to a straight stitch. It is 100% lined up with where my seam will be. So as I'm sewing, I don't need to watch my needle. I just need to watch this line. And this line comes all the way out to here. I'm going to continue stitching, and I'm going to direct that line over here to the corner. So let me show you how that works. So I'll just keep stitching. And as I'm getting closer to the corner, I'm taking my laser or my projected light, and I'm aiming it at the corner. When I hit the corner, I'm just going to cut this off, and then you'll be able to see that I have this really nice straight line that was able to make a beautiful mitered piece for my binding. And I can't tell you how much time this has saved to not have to mark when I do half square triangles, when I do these kind of diagonal lines, no longer having to do chalk lines or temporary pen lines. I can just line up on the corner and sew straight down that line. So huge bonus. Now, if I add something to that, well, hopefully, let me see how well you can see. Oh, that's going to blend in. Let me change the color. So I can change the color of my lines. They don't have to be red. They can change. I'm going to go to white, though, so that you can see that even better. So you have a choice of white, red, and green for your lines that are projected down. Now, what I have right now is green. Let me go to red, I'm not going to bother with white because I'm pretty sure you won't be able to see it. So let's say that I'm piecing 2 pieces of fabric, and I know that I want it to be 1/4 of an inch away. This is probably one of the most used ways that I use a projector. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a second line. Now you can see there's a green line, and I'm going to adjust it. Let me move it. So you can see here it is moving out. I can adjust this to 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch, 5/8 of an inch, and it's all marked on the screen. I'm going to choose a 1/4 of an inch. Now what I'm going to do is line my seam allowance edge, the edge of my fabric, with the second line, and I'm just going to follow the red projected line for my stitch. So basically, as I'm stitching, as long as I keep this green line on the edge of the fabric, I will have a perfect 1/4 inch stitch. And you didn't have to mark anything. You just very easily turn on your projector, and you can sew as fast or slow as you want, as long as you keep that projected line butted up against the fabric. And let me stop there. And you can then see that I have a beautiful 1/4 of an inch seam allowance that I didn't have to use a guide. I didn't have to use a special foot. I was just able to follow that line. Additionally, there is a grid. Let me turn the grid on. So if I want to stitch, oh, go ahead.
Oh my gosh, Heather, you can't see my face right now, but my jaw dropped. I hadn't even thought of that before. I am so excited to start doing this.
Isn't that amazing? I know.
So we did have a question. We do have a question from YouTube. Someone's wondering, can you show where that projector feature is like changing the laser?
Yes, absolutely. Let me do that right now. I was just going to choose the grid, but let me go right back to the screen. Okay. So let me get close. Where it is located, first of all, is up here at the top. So this is the guideline. And then once I have the guideline up, I have a menu, and it's either on or off. Now the main is just the one line where I was just sewing a straight line. Now, if I want, when I was doing my binding, when I choose the sub is my second line. And this is the second line so that I can do a seam allowance. This is a grid, which I'll show you. And this is an angle. So I can choose a 90-degree angle, a 60-degree angle, and a 45-degree angle. And I can choose a seam allowance with that angle. So if you are sewing Y seams, or something that's where you don't want to go all the way off the edge of the fabric, you'll leave your seam allowance. So let me show you that. So this is where you change the colors of the lines. This is where everything happens. And when you don't want it, you just want one line, you turn it off. And the same thing here. And this was how I was adjusting the line to the right or left. And if I back out, you'll be able to see that. So right here, if you watch, the blue line is my stitching line, and the red line is the projected line. So you can actually watch it here, or you can watch it on the fabric. Either one of those will work beautifully. So let me bring that to the center. I'll turn the sub line or the second line back on. I'll show you how to use the grid. And I have a 1-inch grid selected. Let's just use a 1/2 inch grid just so you can see how it works. Now notice it's in millimeters, but as we hit that 1 inch, 1/2 inch, that was 5/8. It pops up in inches for us. I know, I appreciate that. And there was the 1/2 inch. So a 1/2 inch at 12.7 millimeters. That's how big our grid is. Let me close that and let me show you back on the other camera. So here I have the grid, and it is being projected. Now I drew this line on my fabric. So if I wanted to stitch a straight line, right down this grid line, I can do that. And so of course I can just start stitching. I can use this very similar to how I just used the straight line a minute ago. But what I would probably do is sew my straight line, or sew whatever my first line was. And then I would take that stitched line and I would move it over to the grid line next to it. So now when I start stitching, I have an exact reference to choose from so that I can stitch. So now as I stitch, I'm keeping my stitched line that I already did lined up with my grid. Now, if you channel quilt or you like to do straight line quilting, this is absolutely a dream come true, because you can adjust the amount of space between, and you can get perfect stitching from one to the next. So I'll move my grid onto the one I just stitched. This is my new one. It's spaced exactly 1/2 inch away, and I'll start stitching. So as long as I keep my grid lined up, I think that's going to bounce, then you will let me come out, then I'm going to have perfect, let's kind of get cut there, but you can see that I have perfectly stitched lines. Quilting like this, the straight line quilting, is so popular. And I mean, making marks or putting masking tape on your fabric, similar things where you're having to, you want your lines to be straight. That's the whole idea. But with the projected grid, I mean, it's a piece of cake, literally, and there's no extra work in advance. Pull that one out. So this would be one of the primary ways that I would use the grid. Another way to use the grid, and let me pull back over here, is if you were spacing out decorative stitches. So here's an example, and I believe I've shown this.
So Heather,
yes,
we have another question. Debbie
on
Facebook is wondering what the grid is called. Like, what is the name of that feature?
This is the guideline marker.
There you go.
Yes, this is our guideline, and it kind of, like I said, it sort of looks like a, I have to say, don't we all come up with interesting names for the things that we see on the screen? But it was this one right here, and it kind of looks like an electrical plug to me. It's got like the plug and I know, it probably looks like something completely else, but it's what it is it's really like a presser foot with a line in front of it. So yes, that would be the guideline marker. And
okay, and then so to access that, Debbie was wondering how to access that too. So you just go to that little projector, the little cone thing. I'm sorry, next to the little cone thing.
Yes, next to the
I have
little.
very technical terms for all of this, I promise.
And then you'll see the guideline here. If it's off, then you'll still see the main screen would look like this. Turning it on is simply pushing the button there. The main one is just the single line. That was just the single line that you saw, and you can move, let me move that way. Like I said before, you can move it farther or closer away to your main line, but all you're going to see projected is one line. When you go to the subline, you will see an option for the second line. So you may want to have, a 1/4 inch seam allowance, or you could have your grid, or you could have your angles. So it's very easily accessed.
We have 2 questions.
Okay.
We have a question from Christine Hall over on YouTube, and she's wondering how thick can the fabric be under that move it foot?
Oh, that's a good question. So I don't have a number, and that I don't know if that even would be helpful, but I can say that I can easily fit a quilt sandwich. I'm going to change angle. I've never had to take my quilt out. I can't say that I use a crazy thick batting, but here you can see that we have batting and 2 pieces of batting, 2 pieces of fabric. So let me see. Let me put that underneath and just stitch, and so you can watch. So 2 pieces of batting, relatively, I mean, not super thick batting there, and 2 pieces of denim. It's like a denim twill, and there was no issue getting through any of those. So yes, there would be a limit to some degree to what you could fit under there, but let me come to the side. But there's actually quite a bit of space under here.
Oh, for sure.
To get under. So I've never had to stop doing this because my quilt was too thick. That's a great question.
Yeah. And so we had some other folks wondering how long will we be able to access this video right now? And guys, don't worry. This video is going to be up now and forever and ever. Amen. Until, you can watch. There's no time limit, essentially. So if you missed out on the beginning of this, just go back and you can start it from the beginning as soon as we go off air. There were some really awesome tips in the beginning. There are going to be some really awesome tips in the end. So if you can't stick around for the whole thing live, totally fine. Go back and replay it. All good.
Please do. Please do. And hopefully we'll keep hitting questions that lots of people have. Really quickly, I'm going to take off this foot because I want you to see, you touched on it there, Callie, when you said there was sort of a cone, a cone over there. I'm going to change my camera view on the screen. So, of course, the fact that we were projecting the lines, there is a projector, and it is up here at the top, and it looks like this cone. So it's very easy to access. I'm going to go ahead and push that. Now we have something called character decorative stitches. They're essentially just nice, fancy stitches. And you can see there are many, many, many hundreds of them. Let me scroll. Oh, let me go across the top. Stops moving there.
So while you're looking for that, Anne was wondering, where will this video be? It is available for replay both on our Facebook page and on our YouTube page. So or on our YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, go ahead and subscribe. Also click that bell over there on YouTube so you get notifications every time we go live, every time we post a new video. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. But you'll be able to go back and replay all these. So don't worry about it.
Yes, perfect. Because sometimes we do go fast or we have a lot we're trying to explain. Excellent.
Right.
Okay, let me kind of talk to you about this the projector itself. So like I said, I mean, there are hundreds of decorative stitches in here, including, for instance, Disney. Let me pull that up. Maybe. There we go. There's so many cute ones. Let's just do that one. So over here on the side of the screen, you can see what this looks like. It's at 100%. It's instructing me to use the end foot, and this is what I can expect. Now, I will say with these 10 Disney stitches, you're not able to adjust. Hold on. Yes, you're not able to adjust the length and width, and that's just a Disney rule. That's something they have us do. But when and let me show you this. So you get 4 different fonts as well. And I have an example here of how I use those. So here I stitched out Be Happy along with one of the, we have a stitch for bees. So I went around this entire hexagon and stitched out Be Happy. So you can spell things or you can just stitch things. For instance, here on this is a sunglass holder. And on the back, I filled it up with decorative stitches. This is just marine vinyl. And here you can see I love to practice and play with these stitches. And I will just see what sizes I like, what I might want to do with them. So, oh my gosh, there's a lot. Oh, this is one of my favorites. I have to show you this. The little Volkswagen, the little bug. So lots to choose from. But let me show you how this works with the projector. All right, so I'm going to project my stitches onto my fabric, which we will go over to, and I have pulled up a Disney stitch. So let me, I have the projector on, I have the Disney stitch. All right, let's go straight to the presser foot. So you can see what that looks like. All right, I've got the lights off, but let's see, I might need to change. Okay, how about that? Can you see the stitches?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if a different color would work. I'm going to rotate through the colors. There's red, there's black, there's yellow. Yellow seems pretty good.
Great.
What do you think? All right.
Yeah.
You can change this, of course, based on the fabric you're using. And because we're on camera, I'm trying to adjust for you. But in your home, there's 0 issues with this. This is just a camera thing.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't do that in real life. It's just over a camera.
Absolutely. That's all we're doing. Okay. Notice how I have all these buttons. This is fantastic. All right. Right here on the side, on the end of my stylus, when I push the button, notice a light. Okay. When I push this, I'm going to push this button. It's going to change my background color. Okay. Even I, from my perspective, where I was sewing, would say, oh no, that I don't like that. I can't see the projected.
So real quick, Heather, we have another question for you.
Yeah.
So Mary over on Facebook is wondering, does adjusting the pressure foot pressure in settings help lift the butt of that movement foot?
Would that lift the butt? It would. No, I do not believe it would lift the actual butt of it, but the presser foot itself would adjust. So therefore, the whole move it foot would adjust.
Okay.
But it
I
would.
hope that answers your question, Mary.
Yeah, yeah, it wouldn't tilt it per se, but it would
Yeah.
adjust it. Okay, so this was one of the fabulous upgrades with the Luminaire 2, and it lets me choose to see my projected stitches along with a different color background. So you got to see those pretty good, right? Those little Mickey heads. Now, if I choose the, this allows me to make my stitches wider or longer. I can't quite do that with the Mickey stitch, but I would just press right here to make them longer. And if I press right here, this actually lets me audition my stitches. So now when I press the button, it will move through the stitches right and left until I find one I like. I'm going to try to move that to the other hand. So I can go through this whole sequence. There were 10 stitches. And so until I say, oh, you know what? Yeah, this is the one I like. Press set. And now we're ready to stitch. And if I go up here and I just start stitching. Now the projected stitch will stay, but it doesn't follow your stitches. It's just staying so that you could maneuver this to keep it in the place that you want. But that is one of my favorite things about this machine is it has just hundreds of stitches that can be altered like this. And you can see here, let me show you, that all I did with, I made a placemat and I just used decorative stitches using, let me turn that off, decorative stitches using variegated thread, variegated colors of thread. So just straight lines, and we could have used the grid to keep these evenly spaced an inch apart. And then you can take advantage of all of the many, many decorative stitches that are in the machine, including a hand quilting stitch. So let me back this up. And this is what we call a hand quilting stitch. And this is included in the machine as well. So you have that option. Now I know we're super close to an hour, Callie. Where should I go with this?
Hey, that is A-okay. No, keep going.
Keep going. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to get people as much information as possible. There's so many things you could do.
I know you can't see the comments, but everyone has been talking about how much they're learning right now.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Super fantastic. Okay. I have something to show you. This is a brand new feature. Oops, you are looking at my arm and my wall. Okay. So this is a brand new feature. Now I wanted to emphasize one more time, you guys this is dark because of camera. We have 13 inches of LED lights under the hair that you would normally have, but just so that you can see what I'm doing, I have to turn the lights off for the projector. Okay, I'm going to pull up a straight stitch, and then I am going to choose a feature that we have called the endpoint stitching. Endpoint stitching uses this. This is the Snowball sticker. And we have, of course, a snowman sticker. So I think that's why this had to be the snowman or the Snowball. I totally agree. It did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a Snowball sticker, and you get sheets of these included with your machine. You don't have to run out and buy those if you have a machine. What this endpoint stitching does is it allows me to stop stitching in an exact position. Whether I personally use this when I am putting on a binding. So if this was the side of my quilt and I was stitching down, and I like to machine stitch my binding. If I were coming down to the corner and I wanted to stitch just to the mitered edge corner of my quilt binding, I would put this sticker down exactly along the line where I wanted it to stop. So I want my stitches to stop here. So right next to this, I'm simply going on that line. This would be the next corner of my mitered binding. I would put my sticker. So I wanted you to know why it was there. I'm going to start at the top, and I'm just going to switch you around so you can see where it is, because I think people will probably want to know how to find this button. So this button is in the top right corner. It releases my edit menu, and this is what it looks like. So if you have a Luminaire 1, you won't see this particular icon, but you will in the 2, or if you have the upgrade, the second upgrade. So what I'll do is choose the endpoint sewing, and now it gives me 2 options. So it either lets me choose the stop mode or the pattern adjust mode. I think they're pretty self-explanatory once you look at the pictures. But basically what's going to happen is when I choose this one, it will simply stop at the line, no questions asked, do not pass go, I'm done. And when I come to this one, it's going to take a couple more stitches to tie off my decorative stitch, something that I have, and it's going to finish the stitch for me. It doesn't matter in this case. Oh, yes, go ahead.
We've got a question from Tina over on Facebook. She says, do you suggest using the Move It foot when sewing purses with layers like foam, like layers of foam or like fusible fleece?
Yes, because it would prevent shifting. Now, that is depending on how many layers you have, you'd have to give it a shot to see, does it exceed the amount of space you have behind the Move It foot? Because I know with purses and bags, the layers can get pretty strong. But if it fits fine, absolutely, positively, I would use it because it will prevent shifting of all those layers.
Awesome. So we also have a question from Sue. Sue was wondering what the maximum stitch width is.
There's no, let's see. I was going to say there's no maximum. With most of our machines, 7 millimeters or 9 millimeters, this machine actually has a step. So it will step, 15, actually, let me show you. It can go very wide with the step motor. Go back to, oh, I'm on the right one. Sorry. Okay. So let me close that. So when I go to the decorative stitches, then you can see if we choose the right category that I can actually stitch and it'll tell me down here at the bottom, I'm going to scoot back, how wide my stitches are. So this one is 15 millimeters and you're seeing it at 100%. Let me find some of our really big ones. Oh, those are little guys. Yeah. So 7 millimeter would be what fits within your presser foot without it moving back and forth. But that's 14 millimeters. This is 18 millimeters. Is that, you think, what her question was?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's variable, right? Because you do have so many stitch options, which I love, by the way. I think that's great. And then we had one more question, and then I'll let you get back in there. We had Carolyn wondering, when do you use the Move It foot and when do you use the J foot?
Okay, so that's a good question. So if I were stitching a single piece of fabric, I would definitely be using the J foot. If I were stitching a fairly, the hard thing is once you start to get into layers, the huge benefit of the Move It foot is it's preventing them from shifting. So if you have something sort of slinky or stretchy, knits, things you don't want to shift that may shift, then I would definitely go towards the Move It foot. If you have bulk, so you're quilting through a quilt sandwich, I would go with the Move It foot. If I were piecing, although I like piecing quilts with the Move It foot because it's convenient, there's not a lot of shift happening there. So, something like the J foot would be a pretty go-to foot.
All right. Awesome.
Great. Okay. I'll let you get back in there. I was just trying to think if there was something else. Okay. And I was also just looking because we have some really super, super wide stitches. There's so many hundreds of stitches in here. This one's 18. Anyways. Okay. Let's go back to the endpoint sticker. So our snowball that lets you stop stitching. I'm going to go ahead and push the snowball there. And like I said, I went ahead and I want the stitch to end. And I love Brother gives you pictures. You don't have to guess. It's telling me my presser foot will stitch till I hit that snowball and then it will project a line. This is why it doesn't work on other machines is we're using the projector again. So I'm just going to leave that on the screen and I'll show you how that looks on the fabric. And what is happening now is now this light I can't adjust, unfortunately, but there is a line projected, a purple line projected. I kind of think you can see it here. Now I'm going to start stitching and I have asked it to stop. Oh, it's stitching that decorative stitch. Hold on. I want it to show you how I use it for when I'm stitching, for instance, you could use it on applique, and actually I'll show you here. I want to grab it, but I will show you how that works. Okay, put my snowball back on. All right, and we'll go ahead and stitch. So if I were stitching around the outside of a quilt, or maybe I wanted to stitch around an applique. Now notice, I was trying to slow that down. If you can see that it is identifying the Snowball sticker. Now it's going to stop, and it's giving me the option to remove the sticker if the sticker is in the way. It's not. So I'm going to say, okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and let it finish. It's going to go slow to the end because it's trying to be accurate. And it's just going to go ahead and stop when it hits the Snowball sticker. I'm going to tie off and cut my threads and let you see that it just did that all on its own, that my stitch went ahead and stopped right on the line I needed it to. Now I could also pivot. I didn't have to take the fabric out, but I did to show you. So I would just stop it. Now, if I were going to finish going down the other side of my quilt, I would, oh, I lost my sticker. I would put my sticker down on the next side so that I could stitch and it would stop for me again. Now you could do this with a decorative stitch. It doesn't have to be a straight stitch, and it will simply stop at the end, allow you to pivot, and then go down, move your sticker and go down the next side. So this is a really nice feature that we can take advantage of because we have the projector now. So let me move that over. And here's an example. Let me show you an example of something that I stitched using the Snowball sticker. I'm going to move that out.
That's
yeah,
so
and so the Snowball sticker, I know I'm trying to get you so that you're not, the lights are actually right there. So the Snowball sticker was, for instance, here. So I stitched down this line, and when my decorative stitch came to the end, it stopped. And then because of the Snowball sticker, it stopped. I changed sides, and then I moved my Snowball sticker down the other side and stitched. So I was able to stop right before I reached this corner stone here. I was able to stop in all of my corners, and this is just raw edge applique. In this case, these are both raw edge applique. I didn't piece these. So if you're looking to decorate the ends, you know, you could just place, let me do that. Let me place my Snowball sticker here, and now I would stitch from here to here, and it would automatically stop right there. Because of the Snowball, I would shift and pivot and go down the other side. So it's a very practical, useful item, from anything very decorative to just sewing straight lines, which I take all the help I can get with my straight lines. I don't know about anybody else.
Oh, me too. Me too.
Callie, do you want me to show you the couching, or do you feel like everybody's kind of like, oh, we're brain overload?
Let's see. I'm trying to think here, because we do have a giveaway coming up.
Well,
by the way,
and I don't want, you know, we've already exceeded our hours, so we can always do couching another time, or buttonholes. We got so much stuff.
Oh my gosh, there's buttonholes. And you know what's crazy is that this is just one aspect of this machine. Embroidery is a whole other ball game.
Absolutely.
But we've got folks sounding off in the comments wanting to see couching. So, hey, let's see couching.
Oh, gosh, now you're going to see me, so the back of me. Sorry. Okay, so you do want...
Oh, everyone is so excited about couching. Oh, my goodness. The comments are going crazy.
Okay, then we're doing couching, and it won't take very long. I'll show you basically how it works and what you can do with it. Now, keeping in mind this is sewing couching, and with the Luminaire 2, you are getting embroidery couching and sewing couching. I'm just showing you the sewing version, so there's even more that we're not even touching on.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, everyone's so excited about couching. Wow.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, everybody's going crazy.
Yay! All right then. I mean, I hate to put off your, you know, everybody winning, but I'm just going to switch back really
Everybody
quick.
wants to see it, so.
Awesome. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that beautiful move it foot that we were talking about, and this will give everybody a chance to see the move it foot again, and maybe any questions that existed there. So with the couching on the sewing side is done with the special foot that I mentioned earlier. Oh, so let me show you that really quick when I had my, so this move it foot, how do you take these off? Now, we've had some debates among the brother educators. If this is the move it foot, what do you call these? So these are the toes. And so I'm going to remove my toe, and it just pops off like any other brother foot that just snaps on like that. So it's a snap on, snap that off. And I have my other one sitting here because I showed it to you guys. Hold on, it's right here. Do you see it? All right, I got it right here. I know I did. It's got a clear end. Oh boy. Okay. Oh, here. Found it. Okay. So the difference is that with your couching foot, and I'll show you with the other one next to it. So this is the one that comes with your machine, and it's got these different marks here for 1/4 inch and a little bit more than that. It's just a regular foot. This is what your couching foot looks like, and it'll come with the Luminaire 2. And see the hole. Oh, by the way, this little pink mark is just me. When I travel, they all look alike. So that's my way of identifying mine. That pink mark won't be on yours. But this hole right here is what the thread goes through. And let me show you how that works. So I have some, oh, I forget. It's kind of like, I think it's razzle thread here. Now this would be a little too thick to use in my machine, so I'm going to couch with it. And then I just have traditional yarn that, you know, we all probably have bags and bags of this. Now you want to use kind of a medium weight, and you can try thicker. And I have a sample somewhere. I'm trying to, oh, here. Okay, you can use thicker. Okay, here's an example of a purse that we made. Let me back that out. So this purse was made, and this is all couched. So that razzle thread that we were talking about, this is all couched to the top, and then we use some decorative stitches to go along with it. So there's some couching, and then this is just a sampler here with some different ways you can couch. Here's some free motion couching. Here's some variegated thread over that white yarn. Here's some different kinds of blue thread that we couched with metallic thread. Couching is a great way to use your fancy threads and your fun yarn. Okay, so let me show you how I thread the foot. You will get a threader, but I always lose my threader because it's small. So I buy dental cleaning tools. I'm just trying to find it. See, this is how easy they become hidden. All right, I have one right here. So you will absolutely get one, and if you're better than me, you will know where it is at all times. Pulling mine out. It's just sitting here. All right, here we go. So these are for cleaning, like, you know, with between bridges in your teeth and things like this. I mean, they come like 100 at one time. So what I'll do is I'll take the end of my thread, and you can see where, I mean, how would I ever thread that? That would be terrible. So I just drop it into here, and now I have this threaded like that. And then I'll take my couching foot, and I will push this end through the hole in the foot. And now I can pull that. Oh, that's what I get for trying to do it behind the camera. Okay, there we go. So now I'm gonna push this through the hole right there and pull the thread out. And now that's been threaded. Now some threads wouldn't be too hard, but definitely the thicker this gets, the more difficult it is. So let me go ahead and put the foot on, and you can see exactly how we stitch with this. So pretty much nothing is going through the needle. So first off, if that's a question, something is going through the needle, it's the thread. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave the blue on. Frequently I'll do this with monofilament thread. So I'm going to go ahead and put my foot back on. If I can get back here to see. On the wrong side. There we go. Okay, so I'm putting my Move It foot back on, and I'm going to remember to plug it in. Now the Move It foot does not do every single decorative stitch, but it does a lot of them. So you can definitely do straight stitches, zigzags, whatever you want to cover this up. So I'm going to go ahead and plop this back on like that. My needle just became unthreaded when I was doing something else, so we'll thread that back up. All right, now I'm going to take my yarn and just pull it to the back. It doesn't matter what kind of yarn I'm using. Now, where do you put this? That's a good question. And what I typically do is this could actually go on the spool. That wouldn't be an issue. So I'm just going to set it up here and move it to the side. You get something that looks like, I have way too many things sitting here. You get something that attaches to the side of your machine that will keep the thread off to the side. I don't have it right in front of me. I just want to go ahead and throw some fabric under so you can see. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this underneath, and I'm just going to start stitching. Now, let me go ahead and choose a zigzag. I'll go back so you can see that. And I'm just going to choose a narrow zigzag, canceling my endpoint setting. Just use this. And let me turn the lights on so you can see again. Back to the lights. Okay, so I have a zigzag here. It's probably wider than I need. So just go a little bit less wide, say okay. All right, we're ready to stitch this down. Okay, let me get that closer. All right, so your thread is being fed to the back, but you can see that it's just going in the hole right there. I'm just doing a zigzag. I could have done really any decorative stitch that the Move It foot lets me. Let me go ahead and trim that off. And there it is. It's just really pretty. Now I used a dark thread, so that kind of is covering up the shininess of this thread or decorative thread. If I wanted to have used the monofilament, then you would only see the couching that I had used. And that's really all there is to it. You can go different directions. You don't even have to trim this if you want. Just move this back and let me move. I just need the thread to be back behind me. So we'll go like that and we'll just start stitching. Okay, I'll just cut that off. When I'm all done, I just trim my yarn, but you can see here I made another. Now this was just a thin one. I can easily do something that would be as thick as this. And that as long as it flows through this hole in the foot, then you're good to go. That's all there is to the couching.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, right? It's really fun, and there's so many things you can do with it. Really, there is, in terms of embellishment and decorating, and I mean, these can go on garments, and they can go on quilts. There's just an unlimited amount of things you can do with that couching.
So someone on Facebook, Gwen over on Facebook, is wondering, could you do like a couched Minnie Mouse maybe? I feel like you definitely could.
Could you do, you mean the decorative stitch Mickey Mouse or...
Oh, see, I'm not sure. I figured it would just be like the Minnie Mouse, like silhouette couched maybe. That was the first thing that came to my head.
Because you absolutely could do that.
Yeah.
You can definitely stitch around anything. In terms of the decorative stitches, there were some limits to what you can stitch with the Move It foot, which would be your only limitation. But
Right.
yeah, you can do so much experimenting with this.
Yeah, well, Debbie on Facebook is wondering, will leather thread work for couching?
Well, okay, yes, because let me pull this back out. In terms of can you fit it through here, then I would say it's certainly worth trying, because the only thing that's going to go through the needle is a traditional thread up to, say, a monofilament or a metallic. But in terms of the foot itself, you just want something that will fit through this hole right here. And if it can feed smoothly through this hole, then yeah, I'd say give it a shot. I mean, I haven't sewn with leather thread, so go ahead.
And Gwen did clarify her question. She said that yes, she was talking about the decorative Minnie Mouse stitch.
Let me see. Let me go really quick to those stitches and see if they are grayed out. Okay, so those particular stitches don't work with the Move It foot. They are grayed out. So
yeah.
Unfortunately,
well, I hope that answered your question, Gwen.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, today has been. I've learned so much today.
We've gotten a lot done for sure.
I've learned so much.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness.
I have to show Callie, everybody really quick, this cool new tool. This tool is so awesome. It sits on the side. It just hooks right here on your Luminaire. You just push it down. And for people like me who really need some extra help, it has 2 levels of magnifying, and you can just pull it up out of the way. You don't even have to have it down. But this has helped me so much when I really want to see the details on the bed of my machine. So just something that's new out there from Brother.
So cool. Oh my gosh. So actually, since we are wrapping up, Gosh, it's been such a great day. I've learned. I keep saying I've learned so much, and I have. So since we are about to wrap up, I want to just go ahead and show everybody a little bit more information about the XP2, because that is the machine that you were sewing on this whole time. It is an incredible machine, y'all. Gosh, it's amazing. So this is the Brother Luminaire XP2. It comes with so many amazing features. If you saw that one action needle plate from earlier, you saw.
Oh. Huh?
Hey Heather, we're here. We're backstage.
Yes.
Don't worry, Callie is coming right back.
Okay.
We're here. Oh, we're here.
Okay.
Oh, good. Yeah, I just disappeared for a minute. That was very confusing. But no, I think we are back audio-wise anyway. Hopefully y'all can hear me.
We can hear you.
LED.
All right, everybody. I'm going to fill in for Callie now. We are talking about the Brother Luminaire XP2 machine. And this is available at allbrands.com. If you're interested in this machine, please give us a call at 866-255-2726. We have retail stores throughout Louisiana and Texas. And here is our retail locations on the screen here. So we'll be picking a winner very soon. So be sure to like, comment, and share, and we'll be picking a winner very soon.
And we're back. We're here. We made it. Thank you for bearing with us through the technical difficulties, y'all. Oh my goodness. But yeah, and Barbara's been here behind the scenes answering questions and hanging out in the chat. So thank you, Barbara, for hanging out. Oh my gosh. And I just noticed you have a dog, and I'm very excited about this dog.
He's tired of being ignored.
Oh.
So he can sit here.
Yes, no, he's welcome. He's welcome. He's a friend of the show now. So, oh my gosh, you guys. So that was the XP2. As Barbara said, we do have 6 store locations. Please give us a call for pricing on this machine. And I mean, why would you not? Y'all, this machine is incredible. I love it so much. So I think now it's time for us to do our giveaway.
Can't wait.
So everybody, go ahead. If you haven't already, go ahead and get some likes in there, your comments. Go ahead and share this video and subscribe to us on YouTube if you're not subscribed to us and you're watching on YouTube. So go ahead and do that. And we will pull for a name in just a second. And remember, this is a $100 AllBrands gift card. You get 100 AllBrands bucks here. So, and you can use it for whatever. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I think we have a winner. Okay. I think Jordan may have pulled, or I think Jordan may have pulled a name. And let's have a drum roll for that name. Let's see that name. Mary. Oh my gosh, Mary, congratulations. Oh, Mary, you have won a $100. You've won a $100 AllBrands gift card. So if you would, Mary, please go ahead and email events@allbrands.com and give us your name, your phone number, and your email address, and we will get that out to you, okay? Y'all, what a day it has been. Oh my gosh. Thank you for bearing with us through the technical difficulties. Today has been crazy. It's been awesome. Thank you so much, Heather, for coming on the show. Oh my goodness. I've learned so much today, and I cannot wait to go home.
Did we lose?
All right. Thank you so much, Heather. We'll get our cameras fixed.
No problem, Barbara.
Thank
you so much. I had a great time.
Oh, here she is. I think.
I'm here.
Hey. We'll get it.
It's okay.
Oh, I think you're muted. Here you go. Callie, you're muted now.
I am muted. I just realized. Dang it. But thank you all so very much for watching. Oh my goodness. I
Thank you.
just realized I'm echoing in the same room. This is so strange. But, oh.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. And this has been the AllBrands Show. We are signing off. Please go ahead and give us a like on Facebook and go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click that bell too once you're subscribed to get notifications for every time we go live. And on that note, I think we are going to call it a day. So thank you again, Heather, and thank you all so very much for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you all again very soon.
Sounds great. Can't wait.
It's working.